Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mylène and I'm a personal stylist, and today we're talking about the gamines. Just a quick announcement. I know I have talked about 2 courses coming out that I haven't actually gotten out, and there's a reason for it. I promise you. Why there's such a big delay is because for copyright issues, certain images I just can't use when I'm selling a product. So I've been trying to find my way around it. I've been trying to create my own images. It just means it takes way longer to create the course. I don't want to lose the quality or the content that will be best served for you guys to really understand essences and the masterclass. So I think I'm close to getting everything I need for it and a workaround for me to do this legally and in good standing. So please bear with me. I really want to get these out to you guys. The body type course and the color course I had no issues with, so they were just a bit easier to get out quicker. So yeah, thank you all for being so patient. I've gotten so many of you signing up for the early sign up discount. If you still want to do that, the link will be down below. Okay, let's jump right in. So today's video is going to be a double like I did with the classics. So it's going to have the flamboyant gamines in here, and it's also going to have the soft gamines. Don't forget, there's going to be a free download for both of these body types. The links will be down below. Go get it. It's a shopping guide and kind of a body type guide. Another reminder, and I don't think I reminded everyone of this for a couple of these videos, but just to say it again, this is not going to be just directed to a body type. There's going to be some pieces I show that may not be exactly for a soft gamine or a flamboyant gamine, but if someone has this body structure with a certain essence, it can work. And so I try to explain that as much as I can, but just know it's a bit more open. I think for just body structure, I would refer to my videos on that body structure. That'll give you the exact lines for a structure only with no essences involved. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so we're gonna start with the flamboyant gamines. That is my body type, and it's just a cute, fun one. The main things that you want to focus on for this body type is structured lines. So when we say structure, we don't really mean tailoring, although yes, in a way. It's more to do with the fabric that you're using, the shapes that you're using. So either stiffer fabrics that create something that can hold itself. That just means if I were to hold up the fabric on its own, it's not going to completely collapse. It's not very movable. It holds its structure on its own. Think of it more like it's a stiffer fabric, basically. The same can be true about the shapes. You want things to have a little bit of a sharper edge to it, less rounded, or lines that define kind of a shape versus something that's kind of flowy and undefined. And then thirdly, and this is kind of more in line with what I talked about with the lines, but blocking or line breaking is a big thing for flamboyant gamines. However, today we're talking about pieces individually, and there may be some, line breaking within an outfit, but on the whole, that happens with an entire outfit. So I just wanted to point that out. So let's start with tops. These 2 tops are classic examples of flamboyant gamine. However, there are essences infused into them for people who don't want to just look boyish or just boxy all the time. There are ways to bring things in, so I really wanted to show these 2. Starting with this one over here, this is a great example of someone who has high ingenue essence and has this body type that really wants to bring in that cutesy, flare, ruffly detailing. It's got it on the collar. The collar itself is square, which is beautiful, and the shape of the entire garment is boxy. It has a little bit of definition within the waistline, which isn't something flamboyant gamines need. But if you have classic essence, if you have even ingenue essence, and you want to bring in that femininity, that classic femininity a little bit, while keeping it cute and very structured, this is perfect. Then over here would be a great piece for someone who has classic dramatic essence that really wants it to feel a bit more structured, yes, but fitted and almost a little bit, not exaggerated, but it's following a line that maybe you don't have. You don't have like a super defined waist, but it feels a bit more intense than something that's just a straight box. It's got a tailored look to it, which brings in the classic. And then with these buckles, brings just like a tiny bit of a dramatic. It's not extreme in any way, but for someone who has any kind of balance, I think this would be beautiful. Another thing to note with these is you may, as a flamboyant gamine, have to tailor pretty much everything. I tend to buy things cropped so that they're not really cropped on me. They'll just look like a normal sized shirt, whatever. These pieces, you may want to check the length because everyone's torsos are quite different in this body type. A lot of times they can be quite short, sometimes they're longer, so you want to kind of play around with that and where it's going to sit on you. Ideally, right at the belly button is a great one, or right below is a good like balancing line for a flamboyant gamine, but again, that's going to be personal to you. So a lot of these tops, I tried to find cropped ones so that we can be already ahead of the curve and know that it will fit you the way it's supposed to. Now, if you want to lean to something a little less structured, or not structured, a little less tailored or fitted, you can go for something boxy, but still not always going towards something overly kind of boyish is what this body type is called very often. If you want to go away from that, you can add just little elements. So this one over here is perfect. It's got a little bow detail on the shoulders. That would be super cute if you had any like romantic essence, if you had ingenue essence. And I wanted to show it in a bright color in case you have a tiny bit of gamine essence and you want to be, you know, a bit more fun and flirty with that bow. And what I like about this is it's that classic like literal box on top of a box, which looks just stunning on flamboyant gamines. Super, super cute. Then if we want to keep on that theme, but you want it to be a slightly more grown up version of this, you could go with something with a gingham pattern, which does look good on someone who has lots of sharp angles on their body. However, you want to make sure that it fits in line with your essences. So if you had classic essence, maybe a little bit of ingenue essence, this would be perfect. It's quite fitted, so it's not, you know, gonna be a super box like this one was. It's definitely following your body a little bit closer, more tailored, and it's maybe got a tiny bit of breathing room, which is a very classic thing to do. So it brings in that ingenue classic element to it. And it just looks timeless, vintage, all good things. If you were a gamine and you wanted to pick this as a way to bring in that kind of juxtaposition or play with vintage looks, I mean, this will work perfectly. For longer sleeve tops, let's talk, you know, necklines. Higher necklines look really good. This creates a very like straight line visually. So that always looks good on someone who has lots of angularity, either in their face, in their shoulders, somewhere on their body in this area. Looks really, really beautiful. I wanted to bring in at least one kind of turtleneck high neck because we know they look good on angular body types. And then over here is kind of a different example of a square neckline, which also looks really, really good on a flamboyant gamine. You could also do a V-neck, but I wanted to bring in something different because we talk so much about V-necks. This is such a great one. I know when I wear something like this, it's so beautiful on the shoulders, especially when you do have a bit more angularity there. I think it just mirrors that angularity so seamlessly. I think this one would be perfect for a natural, a classic, like it's very much a staple piece for a lot of the essences, so it's not gonna lean too much into one. You can dress it up, you could dress it down, so a staple. Then this one has a little bit more of a romantic essence, maybe even ethereal essence to it because it's got such intricate detail. It's kind of a lace knit detail with a little bit of a ruffle. It's definitely a lot more sensual and a lot less cutesy, but it has elements of cutesy. Dressing it up in a certain way could definitely bring it into ethereal, especially because it's a little bit see-through and kind of sheer looking, that would be great. For sweaters, now sweaters they do look good on Flamboyant Gamines. You just have to be very careful that you don't go oversized or too overly chunky, because your tiny bones, like your more delicate bones, can get swallowed up very easily. However, if your essences really fits it, you can definitely get away with it. But it has to be, your essence has to be so strong in that element for it to not swallow you up and feel like you look like a little kid wearing a older person's clothing. Crew necks look really good. Of course, you know, it is a softer line, but it does look good, like even a Henley. So in this area, if you didn't want to go full square and everything is sharp, but wanted to still honor your body type, this would be a great way to go. What's great about it is cropped, so it's not super long, it's not oversized. It's a nice thinner knit. It also has the seam at the shoulder, which looks incredible with angularity. It's not drop shoulder, and the sleeves are not super long. You want to show off those wrists a little bit to bring in balance. Then if you wanted to really lean into what, you know, Flamboyant Gamines are told to wear, is these sharper detailed collars. Looks really, really nice on someone who has a little bit more of that angularity present. So here we've got the sharper collar, but it's kind of cute. Like, it's not overly dramatic looking or too Gamine essence. It's kind of like teetering the line there. So if you did have those essences, you could get away with it in a different color, like a black or a darker, moodier color. It could lean into dramatic essence. If you had ingenue essence and you wanted to kind of wear that collar look, especially in this like cutesy color, but didn't want to do a rounded collar and wanted to stick to the angular lines, this would be a great option. And I want to show a cardigan. So again, a cropped cardigan is always best. You don't want anything too long. It's gonna really throw off your lines, especially when it gets into like that near your butt line, under your butt. Like, those lengths look super off on someone who has this body type, because it's just like your legs now all of a sudden look really short and you don't have that structure to really hold it, which I've talked about in my vertical video. So we really want to keep in line with cropped, because you're honoring the fact that your bones are cropped, especially if you have a shorter torso. And so it gives this illusion that it is boxy. And what's great about it is you can button up the first two to create another triangle line. You can wear it buttoned up all the way. It all looks very, very boxy and cute, and really, really honoring that angularity that you have. I also love that this one is not oversized and it doesn't feel like it's just taking over your body structure or your bones. For jackets, again, the name of the game is going to be cropped. However, I'm going to show you what a longer jacket looks like and that you can do. So this one, very much on the classic. I'd even say, like, especially the way that this is styled, if you wanted to bring in a little bit of romantic essence mixed with classic, kind of like that mob wife look or even new money look, if you wanted it to look really luxurious, I think this could be a way to do that. Especially because we often think of romantic with like a tie and something very flowy or very fur type. This could be a great option, especially if this had even a fur collar, then you're bringing in a little bit of sensuality there. So I think it's a great mix of essences without losing your shape. Also, the fabric itself is softer, but it's holding its structure still. And then if you want to keep something a little bit more on the natural side, clean, a little bit of classic even. If this was in black, you could say could go into dramatic pretty easily as well. It's very minimal, which is easy for a lot of essences that lean into that realm. But what I love about it is cropped, it's petite, it's definitely not an oversized leather jacket, which again can overwhelm very, very quickly. And notice you can see her wrists, which I don't think is super long. I looked at the dimensions and I feel like this would be super, super good for a Flamboyant Gamine. Okay, so I said I would show you a longer jacket. and this is it. Basically, you want to follow where your mini dress would end, and that's where you want the jacket to go, or a little bit longer, like an inch or two. Keeps it cohesive. It also keeps in line with like this kind of triangle shape that looks really good on you, or kind of a straighter, no shape but structured, stiff line on you. Super, super cute on someone who has this body type. You won't get lost in it. You won't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm dragging in it, or here's my little feet moving underneath this giant coat. I don't want, though, to sacrifice for anyone warmth. I live in a very, very cold country city. It gets incredibly cold in the winter. I would never tell anyone in the city to just wear a short jacket all the time. It's just not possible in the middle of winter. So keep that in mind, that there comes a point where your comfort and warmth especially comes into play. I will be doing a video on how to still follow your lines within very cold winters so that you don't throw off your balance if you wanted to. Dresses. So of course, we all know a shift dress is kind of like the best line or the best dress for a flamboyant gamine. There's a reason for it. It basically is a box and you look incredible in it. All of your flamboyant pieces, meaning your longer limbs, if you have them, that mix of yin and yang going on looks really good in something that is short, which is the yin, and something that is very structured, which is yang. It's just a beautiful pairing, which mirrors your body type. I really like pairing it with a shirt underneath like this. That really helps to do that line breaking that I was talking about. In the summer, obviously, you couldn't do that as much, but I like to use like scarves or a jacket to kind of help with that. But in the winter is a great time to do that. You can do it with your boots, you can do it with your top underneath with a jacket. There's so many ways to do it. It just looks incredible on a flamboyant gamine. This is kind of in a Sherpa. It's not a Sherpa. It's in a very soft material, very natural leaning, I would say. So definitely if you have natural essence with like any other essence that you feel kind of is cutesier or maybe a little bit more feminine, this would be perfect for that. I also know that a lot of flamboyant gamines feel like, oh, I don't want to look like a little kid though, even though you don't when you play into it because it's just your body type. But if you do have romantic and classic essence and wanted to give in a little bit more of like a shape structure to it, this would be great. It does come in at the waist. It's tailored more to your body without it being an emphasis of the waist, which is not an important factor for this body type. And both are mini because, yeah, you're mini. Another really great piece that looks good on a flamboyant gamine is anything that has angularity in it, so asymmetrical lines. I love an off-shoulder dress on this body type. It just looks stunning, especially if you don't have width, but a lot of flamboyant gamines feel like their shoulders are a little wider than the rest of their bodies in a narrow frame. So I do find that this line that cuts here looks stunning on that. It's not width that we're accommodating for. We're just kind of honoring the fact that there's angularity there. In this really beautiful rose pattern, this could be romantic. It could even be ethereal, dressed in a certain way, easily. Then if you don't want to wear these kind of, I find a little bit more on the classic end or a little bit ingenue when it comes to this body type, and you want to lean to like comfy and a little bit more cool, laid back, and you could even make this into a gamine outfit too. I think this would be perfect. It's kind of in this like stretchy jersey jean look, very, very casual, very laid back, and you could dress it down. It could look really cool, but you're not losing that mini look to it. It's got a tiny bit of like a flare or a flow to the skirt part. So if you had a little bit of ethereal essence and kind of wanted to go against that super structured look, this could really lean into that. Skirts. Now, skirts look incredible on flamboyant gamines, I think, especially the mini skirt was made for you, because on you, it doesn't come across as like, whoa, you're wearing a mini skirt and you're trying hard. It just looks like what a midi skirt looks like on a moderate sized body. It just looks natural, normal. But what you really want to aim for is that triangle shape, especially if your hips are a little slimmer, I guess, than your width on the top. And sorry, I'm using the word width, but I don't mean width, like width. Just mean wider. If this part's wider than your hips, a triangle shape really helps to kind of balance it out. You're not creating an hourglass shape, you're actually just honoring angularity and angularity. It's almost like this triangle shape on the angular parts of your body, just you're honoring it. You're saying, I see you. So there's two versions. There's a jean one, which again, can be dressed up, dressed down. It can go into so many essences. It's very versatile. Or you could go for like a suede, we could go a little bit more romantic. It could also be very much on the natural side because it's a natural fiber, or an ethereal based on how you dress it up. Then I want to show you a couple more bottoms that aren't always talked about and some that are, but just to give you an example. The shorts over here, I love these. They are super cute, and this is the body type that can really pull these off because again, you do have longer, sometimes, legs for this body type. And so this like little short mini shorts look so good without it looking, oh my gosh, you're showing a lot of leg. It's almost classy on someone who has this body type. It's such a weird thing, but it's because you're so petite. It just fits the proportions really well. I love it for ingenue and classic essence. Very much so, even maybe dramatic depending on the kind of color you're going for and how you dress it up. But with a matching short jacket, stunning. Then I wanted to show just a different option because I know a lot of people, well, I've had a lot of Flamboyant Gamine clients that aren't thrilled about the super mini thing and actually do enjoy wearing longer pieces. And it's not that you can't, it's how you wear it. So it's just not the best line for you, but it doesn't mean that you can't. And if your essences fit it, it does sort of become one of your best lines, which is kind of weird to think about. But basically you want to follow the same rules. So it's still structured, it's still stiff, and it's straight. And it's not midi, because I find midi just looks super strange most of the time on a Flamboyant Gamine. Doesn't mean that there isn't a Flamboyant Gamine out there that could do a midi. I just want to point that out. I'm talking generalization here. But longer, just kind of like probably right below where your calf muscle would end, and a little longer would be super, super cute. Then you really have to think about what you're wearing on the top. But this is a great, great option for someone who you'll still appear tall, and as long as it's narrowed in, not oversized, and straight and stiff, you can do it. This is a great option for a lot of Flamboyant Gamines if you don't want to do mini all the time. The same can be said about a dress. However, make sure the dress has some kind of line breaking in the pattern or in the structure of it in some capacity to kind of not have one long seamless line, because that will look weird. Okay, on to more bottoms. So capri pants, as they used to be called, that we don't really call it that anymore, but, or culotte pants now. Super, super cute. Definitely if they are straighter cut, looks really nice. You can also do something that has like a little bit of like a triangle shape, just not extreme. Do not go extreme here, because we're not going super flared. We're really keeping it straighter, or a slight boot cut kind of line looks incredible. Show off those ankles because it looks good on you. And I've got two options here, something that feels a little bit more dressed up, like you could wear this to the office, maybe not in the white color, but you could wear this with a fancier top to go out. You can definitely dress it up casual too. Then I brought in like kind of a cargo one because we know it's stiff and definitely leans more into that casual side. Then for jeans, I just want to quickly show two options. Basically straight boot cut. You want mid-rise jeans. You can do low-rise if your proportions account for it, especially if you have really short torso. Sometimes low-rise looks really good in that instance. High rise is where we all lose everything. Our bodies become like there's this much space in between you and the pant. It's just way too high. Your bones tend to be smaller and shorter in reference to a moderate, so it can really throw off your balance. And again, they're cropped a little bit. There's a little bit of ankle showing. I know there are some flamboyant gamines that do like to wear longer pants. They think it makes them look taller. It could if you're wearing heels all the time. If you're not, you don't look taller. I can guarantee you right now, you look like you're dragging your mom's pants. That is what it is. Soft gamines. Now, the aim for soft gamines is very similar to flamboyant gamines. We're just giving it a soft twist to it. Plus, we now do need a waist emphasis going on because you'll lose yourself completely if you don't. Soft gamines look really good with tapering details in slightly angular shapes, but have tapering or like a rounded element to it. So that could be like a puff sleeve, definitely tapering at the smallest parts of their bones of their body. We also don't want things too long or too oversized, still kind of paired in and a little bit cropped on that end as well. They can, and some can do midi, depending on your personal structure and the balance of each of your body parts, essentially. If it's pretty much balanced in that area, then you can do midi. So let's start with tops. Very similar things to what I'm wearing, but I wanted to show you that this would be like the flamboyant gamine version because of the higher neck, but a soft gamine could wear this too. It also, mine does kind of come in at the waist, so if I wanted to go full flamboyant gamine, I would not have it come in ribbed in at the waist. For a soft gamine, you would. So this example is perfect with like the little puffed sleeve element to it, really honoring that softness that you have in your arms and kind of all around. The material itself is just a little less stiff and a little bit more stretchy, which kind of hugs a little bit of that beautiful softness that you have. And then with collars, again, if you didn't want to do like round collars all the time, you can do this. It's just in a softer material, and again, has other elements that bring in or honor your softness, like the tapering, a slight puffed, little bit of room here to kind of let that softness breathe a little bit, and you're really honoring that beautiful soft flesh. And then also you can see that this tapers in at the waist that I was talking about. That looks perfect. That's where we want to taper in. For some more dressed up tops, definitely if you have romantic essence or ethereal essence, I love velvet on those two essences. And also the fact that you have a soft body type means velvet looks really good on you as well. Over here, I'm kind of giving something that may even lean a tiny bit into a natural line because it's quite open at the top. So if you did have a mix of that natural ethereal essence but didn't want to completely lose your body type in it, this is perfect for you. It is cropped, which not oversized. It's not gonna, fall all over. It does have a rounded element for your soft body type, but it's not, again, too much. Like the sleeves are not too billowy. So if you had a little bit of that natural essence in there, we're still honoring that. And then it tapers in at the wrists. I couldn't say wrists. It tapers in at the wrists, which looks beautiful. This kind of detailing here also kind of brings in a tiny bit of tapering. Ideally, it would be closer to your neck, but because you may have natural essence, I think this is perfect for that. And then again, it tapers in at the waist, which is chef's kiss. Then the feel of the fabric, the vibe of it really leans into ethereal essence. But if you had more just romantic essence and still wanted to honor your body type, this would definitely be it. We've got a V-neck, which is okay. Like some soft gamines can definitely do it, especially if it's in a softer material like velvet would be. Definitely does not taper in here, but you can make it taper in. I mean, it's not oversized, it's not a bell sleeve. So basically kind of tapering in. What I like is the little tiny puffed details on the shoulder. Nothing has to be extreme. I think people think, oh, it's got to be puffy everywhere. It doesn't. It's just these tiny little elements that really honors your softness. For cardigans, we're going to see something similar to what we saw with Flamboyant Gamines, but just little tweaks. I find open, like a V-neck neckline or like a rounded neckline that isn't so high and like straight lined on a soft gamine looks really good. And if it kind of, it again tapers in, or you get ribbing at the waist, perfect. We got ribbing at the wrist as well, all ideal, and it almost creates kind of like a bubbly shape, perfect. Another really great thing you could do for this body type is a wrapped something. So I wanted to show at least one. A wrapped sweater would be perfect in a smaller knit. Again, nothing too grandiose or too thick because your bones are quite small, but anything wrapped always looks good on someone who has some soft flesh. It just honors it so well. And this one's nice and cropped, and I like that it is, again, not oversized. You could even wear this as a top, like it doesn't have to be a sweater. The color and the fabric, way it's detailed, I think could lean into ethereal essence really, really well. Then again, collars just look good on both Flamboyant Gamine and soft gamine, but really thinking more about the material when we're doing this. So both of these are soft, they're very pillowy, they're almost fluffy but not oversized is kind of the name of the game. I wanted to give two options, one that has kind of longer sleeve and one that has shorter sleeve, both showing how we're kind of tapering in at those key elements without losing, you know, that softness that we have. One might be a way to do it very casually if you had romantic essence or classic essence and wanted something a little more higher quality fabric. You want to go for the cashmere. If you want to do something that looks soft but can be dressed in a way that, especially in a certain color, in a dramatic sense, I would go for something like this, or even in a gamine kind of androgynous way, you could make it look like this, sort of like how this model did it. Dresses. Now, a lot of people describe this body type as like a smaller soft classic. Yes, in some ways it can be a lot of the time, but not exactly. However, shirt dresses look really good on this body type because it's bringing in those two worlds. It's got angularity there and it's got softness. There's a bit more of a stiffer feel to it, but it can be usually with a tie or a puffed detail on the sleeve. So both of these dresses have those elements and have good tapering zones. And I want to show something that, let's be honest, this dress comes at mid-thigh on this model, but on a soft gamine, it would probably come right above the knee, which is a nice line on this body type, especially when you're emphasizing the waist. But if you wanted to go a little longer, you could do a midi. Again, you'll know for your body type if this is working for you. You may have to alter it a little bit because models are always way taller than the average person when they show clothing, so keep that in mind. Very, very similar to what we see with Flamboyant Gamines, but this time the fabric is either soft or there's detailing that brings in a little bit more softness. Now, this one over here, definitely if you have romantic essence, you could wear this. Like a romantic body type could even wear it. But I wanted to show that even a soft gamine could. I love that there's a kind of a high neck detailing, but everything else is soft. There's nice kind of flowiness over the softness on your arms. It kind of comes in, which we want, waist emphasis, and then a slight kind of flowier bottom. It's not anything extreme, but romantic essence, you would definitely shine in this. For something a bit more casual, this one's got a rounded neckline. It's got kind of a jersey knit, which looks really good. It's tapered in at the waist, and then you kind of got this bubbly shape on the bottom, which does look really, really good on soft gamines, and it's very casual, so you could definitely lean into quite a few essences without, you know, it leaning one way or another. Skirts, you also look really good in mini and midi skirts, but I wanted to show some really cute minis. I love a good, like, slightly flowy skirt on a soft gamine. I just think it's so cute. Or like a pleated skirt looks really good. So I've got two options, one on the mini side, which I think is adorable, especially if you have classic essence and wanted to bring in a bit more structure without losing some of that softness. This kind of gives a tiny bit of softness with a lot more angularity infused into it. Then if you wanted to really lean into more of softness but still have classic essence or even romantic essence, this kind of flowier skirt, especially where it lands, which is just below the knee, is a really nice line. A little bit longer is probably as long as I would go as a midi. Beautiful, just beautiful. Then two other options for minis. We kind of almost get into tulip style skirts, which I think looks really, really nice. Over here, a mini, but it's got stretch to it, so it is more of like a jersey type of knit. Then it's got little ruffles, which would be great for an ingenue essence. I think that would be adorable. If you've got some ethereal essence, maybe a little bit of natural or romantic essence even, I think this would be perfect. It's silk, so it's very, very flowy. It's very soft. It's very iridescent looking even. And it does have kind of a tulip shape to it, which does look beautiful on a soft gamine. Just above the knee, which is another really, as I said, great line on you. For coats, now I often hear that, you know, they don't want to wear, soft gamines don't always want to wear something super petite and I want to wear oversized. You can if your essence is really fit for it. So I think if you had gamine and dramatic essence and wanted to go for something like this, you definitely can. There are just things you have to tweak. So this is a great example of the waist is still, you know, there. We didn't lose you in the outfit. It's soft because it's leather, and then there is still tapering here. It might be a little longer, but I think if you can find it where it does land right here on you, you can definitely get this. There's still a bubbly shape to it that still honors your softness, but we're definitely leaning more into something that is much more dramatic, a little bit oversized without losing you. If you really want to stick to your lines though, this is similar to the jacket I showed before for the flamboyant gamines. This is just the soft gamine version. It's got tapering, tapering and more of a ribbing that comes in at the waist, so we've got more of this bubbly shape. We also have it here at the wrist, which looks beautiful. Everything else is very, very similar to the one I showed before. This is what I mean by tweaking, and again, leather is just like such a great fabric for anyone that has softness, and if you have natural essence, this would look super, super cool. If you did want to do boxy, I have some soft gamines that wish they were flamboyant gamines because they like the boxy look. This could actually really work for you. It's got still a boxy look, a little bit oversized, but it's cropped and still petite looking. Especially with what you wear underneath, this could work. You're not going to completely lose yourself, but it definitely is going to be more of like a triangle shape on you. So as long as your waist is defined underneath, you'll be fine. And if you want something more classic, but isn't a cropped jacket, do something a little longer like this riding coat. I think this would look so good on you because it's got the ties at the waist. There's that tapering. And lastly, bottoms. I wanted to put two kind of cord looks to them. One's more like a velvet type of vibe, and one is definitely a cord pant. Both are very soft materials. If you have a lot of softness, you know, on your thighs and on your legs, this type of material looks really, really good on you, especially the softer ones. Some are a little stiffer for cords, so you can play around with that, but I think the softer the better. Over here is like a stretchier, soft material that goes over that softness really well. I love that it would be hugging those curves, and then just like a little flare at the bottom, which does look really good on you and still cropped. And then that culotte pant that I was talking about, a little wider can definitely work here, especially when it's cropped like this. And if it's in a softer cord, really hugging those soft curves looks stunning. And you can go more high-waisted for this body type, so definitely both of these are high-waisted. For more bottoms, we've got jeans now. I like a little flare on this body type. You can also do skinny jeans because we want to hug those curves. What's different from this than the one I showed in the Flamboyant Gamine is that this has much more stretch to it, which we want on something that has softness on it. We want to hug that, we want to honor it, we want to match it, basically. And again, cropped. For shorts, I wanted to show a version because I showed one for Flamboyant Gamine. Something with like a little bubble shape I think is super, super cute. What's nice about this is that they're actually not like super oversized. They're not going to be way too big on your little frame, but it's got still that bubble shape and that detailing that kind of honors that roundness that you might have in your hip area. Still high-waisted, mini, which you can definitely pull off. And that is it. That's it for the Gamines. Again, don't forget there is a free download down below for you to check out. You can also check out my Shop My page. I put a lot more pieces that I don't have in the guide and I don't have in this video, so I'll link that down below for you as well. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and please do let me know if this is your body type or one of these is your body type, and what your essence and coloring and the blend, I call it the beauty blend, is down below. I love to hear about it. I hope you all have a beautiful Gamine day.